The year 2021. Well, we'll flash back to 2019 when this sled, a Ski-Doo Summit SP 850 146-inch track, rolled off of the line. And some guy in Iowa, well, the Midwest, bought this sled and probably had a ton of fun on it for a lot of years until the year 2021. And that's when Tony and I decided that we wanted to get a 146 to learn things like hopovers and reentries. So here's what happened. I called Tony. Hey, Tony, you want to go halvesies on a sled? Tony says, yes. All right, so that wasn't actually how it went. We talked about it on the mountain and decided, hey, we want to do hopovers, reentries, and whirly-bird things. So let's get a 146. So Tony and I decided that neither of us wanted to spend the money to buy a 146 on our own. So we decided to go together in on it and have a sled baby. And that's when the search for a 146 started. And maybe surprising to you, maybe not, there's not a lot of 146s in the West. And thanks to Facebook Marketplace, I think it was, we were able to find this beauty in Iowa. The problem is, Iowa's like 3 states away. I'm pretty sure. Yep, 3. We bought the sled, and our good buddy Cal was going to Heydays. He picked it up and brought it back for us, and that's when the build started. So we thought we'd start out just doing a minimal build, but let's go from ski tips to snow flaps, or lack of snow flap, and see what we actually did and how we kind of went a little overboard. If you're not like me, because I don't think you can go overboard on a sled build. All right, if you remember, the main purpose that we wanted this sled for was so we could learn hopovers, reentries, bow ties, all the whirly-bird stuff, which Tony has done a much better job at than me. But let's get started on the mods that we did to make this sled stand up. So the first thing we needed to do was get it so it could wheelie. And to do that, you most effectively do it by changing some things in the skid. So we started in the front. We put the shock off of my 2018 Ski-Doo Summit X in there, and then we put on heavier springs. And as you can see, we have a helper spring and the regular spring or main spring. Then we loosened the limiter strap. We came back here and we put the shock from my Summit X in the rear as well. What that does is it allows the front end or front of this track to drop in, the back to soften up, so you get transfer up like that. And that makes the whole sled just wheelie. And we also, in the skid, did a T-motion limit or delete. The next mod that's the most important to us is we wanted this sled to react like our others. And we did a post forward kit. What that does is it gets you further forward on the snowmobile and makes side hilling and technical riding much easier because the sled's not trying to wash out as much and you're able to get forward. For a wheelie sled, maybe not the best, but we wanted this to react like our other sleds, so when we jump back onto them, it wouldn't be like that much more of a change. It would just be the track length. Post forward kit is by far, I think, my favorite mod to do. All of the sleds you're gonna see, in ski tips to snow flaps, that are Ski-Doo that are mine, is gonna have a post forward kit. It just makes it so you can ride them more aggressive and in tighter, steeper trees. Maybe not tighter, but you get it. Next, we wanted low end torque. And it has a clutch kit on it from when we bought it, but we needed more. But remember, at this point, we're just trying to get this thing done without doing a ton of stuff to it. So we decided, instead of spending all the money on a belt drive, which I am a huge fan of, we would get a gear down kit. So you just get a gear. It's like 20 bucks. And actually turned out that it works great. But then I had an idea. In 2020, Ski-Doo came out with the Expert. And then they came out with the Expert Turbo, and they'd cut the tunnel. And me thinking that way, I decided to bring it up to Tony. Hey, should we cut the tunnel? There is a big problem with cutting the Skidoo tunnels, is you have to be an amazing fabricator. Because if you know Skidoos, the cooler runs through both parts of the tunnel. But I had an ace up my sleeve. Tony is an amazing fabricator, and he can stack dimes like he's at a dime slot machine. Do they even have dime slot machines? But luckily, Tony said, yeah, let's do it. So we did a bunch of research, meaning we watched a lot of YouTube videos and saw different ways that guys were cutting it, and we picked what we thought would be the best way to do it. Turns out the way we picked, not the easiest way, but you'll find out in other ski tips to snow flats, we found the way to do it. But we'll get into that in another one. So you might be wondering to yourself, if it was such a hassle or hard to do, why did you do it? Well, because we wanted this to wheelie. And when you're in this snow and you're coming up, that's the snow flap is the biggest, but then after that, the tunnel, or the bumper in the tunnel, will catch the snow and it'll get you stuck. It will high center you. Seen it so many times, and so we thought, that's why we're gonna cut tunnels. That's why Skidoo shortened theirs, that's why Polaris shortened theirs. So after we shorten the tunnel, the next thing that I like to do, I actually can't ride a sled very well if the bars aren't low. I normally run a 2-inch riser. This has a 3-inch riser because Tony likes the 3, and I thought, we'll try it. I actually can't really notice a difference, but I personally don't notice a lot of things. So 3-inch riser, they're RSI risers. They're great. After that, we needed a lower seat. So we originally took the seat and cut it down and shaved it down, but we've since then traded it for a stock Skidoo Summit X seat off of like a 22, I think. And it's really nice. It's a great seat. Because you don't really need to sit down when you're riding in the backcountry. So low seat is good. You just need it for things like lunch, trail ride in and out. The next thing we did was we put the Expert spindles on. Helps in side hilling and keeps you in better control. We also put the Salsa King ski rubbers in for added longevity of ski rubbers. In my opinion, SP running boards aren't the greatest. So we threw on this set of Skins running boards. We may have bought the last set of those. So sorry about that. Tony really loves handlebars, and he's done a lot of testing. I mean, a lot of testing. So for this sled, we found the bars. These bars are CFR. I think they're the Munster bars. They're the same bend as the stock SP, but they are narrower. They're the same diameter as well. I kind of like the smaller diameter, but we have these bars and they look great and they work great. So like I said, I can't really tell the difference in the bars. So happy wife, happy life. So same thing, happy Tony, happy life. We wanted better front end feel. So we put on Fox air shocks. We've since switched them to these Fox coilovers, which are great. They have the Renton coil springs dual rate. They work great. Tony has the air shocks on his sled. In my opinion, the stock shocks aren't great, and we wanted something that would keep our ski down, because when you're mountain riding, you want to be ready for whatever's going to come under the snow for a big hit. Tony rides with a finger throttle, and so I said, okay, we'll give it a shot. I will say, it's fine. It's not for everybody, but it's fine. Next, I wanted an adjustable brake lever, because I love when the brake is right in the perfect spot. It just feels so great. It's nice. So we got the Skins adjustable brake lever. We also threw on TKI makes a emergency brake lever holder, and it just so it doesn't stick up. I like it because I've broken those before. Along with the brake lever, in my opinion, you want to have a cover, because I've seen quite a few guys break off that brake reservoir. If you don't have anything to cover it, you'll break that off and it ruins your day. So we have the TKI brake reservoir cover. Skidoo has started putting brake reservoir covers on a lot of their mountain sleds. And then even in 24, they changed to a metal reservoir. So you don't really have to put the cover on. because Skidoo's putting them on now. But in 2019, they weren't. When we bought the sled, it had an HPS can on it. So why not lose some weight, right? Simple, easy. Someone broke off our kill switch. Now, before that, we had a race rubber on, and they work great. That's what we're running on the other sleds. But when it broke off, we put a Munster momentary switch on. We like running those because then you don't get kill switched, which is when you're riding through the trees, mountain riding, you don't hit it with your body, or a branch doesn't hit it and kill your sled and ruin your line. So a really great option for us and really helpful. We had a few incidents with bumpers. First, the front bumper. So we replaced the stock one with the skins. Just the bumper. It doesn't have the bracing that goes underneath because we wanted to try to keep it as light as we could. And also this has a skid plate. But because we cut 7¼ inches off of the tunnel, there's not a whole lot of options for bumpers that you can use for the rear. So Tony, being the awesome fabricator that he is, he made us a bumper. And this bumper is super custom. And it's cool because it comes up out of the way, so it's not giving us more on the back like like the parts that we cut off. And it's got 146 in it. It's got the Mountain Ready mountains on it. And it's cool. Tony got into jumping the sled, which was awesome. But Tony and I are what you'd call like skinny guys. So we bent the rails. So we put Ice Age bomber rails on with the braces. We wanted the sled to be light, so we did a headlight delete kit. So you might be asking yourself right now, Ben, I don't remember the 2019 Skidoo Summit SPs coming in green, with green parts all over. And I would say you're right, because this sled came in all black. But when we pulled the skid out to do the shock work, it was like all chipped up. And so we're like, well, we got to powder coat this or paint it. So we decided, well, should we do more than just the skid or the rails? And the answer was yes. We wanted to do a lot more, kind of make it stand out and be its own sled. I think it turned out awesome. I love the color and I think it looks amazing. This sled turned out to be pretty much exactly what we wanted it to be. In fact, it was so good that for like, I think 2 years, Tony mainly rode just this sled. It rides really well and does a lot of things awesome. Do I want it to ride it on a super deep day or in super technical tight trees, steep tight trees? No, it doesn't do that for me. I like a little bit longer of a track, but overall turned out to be a great sled and it's super fun to have it. And who doesn't love a modded sled? It's not really an SP anymore. It's kind of a homemade expert. And I think that's really cool. And I think the mod sled's really cool. If you want to build a sled like this, we did a whole build series that I will link for this in the description and probably put it again in the comments. But we have the whole series of this out on YouTube. And it's a sweet sled, and I hope you check out that build series. Thanks for coming around and watching our videos. We're having a great time. We love snowmobiles, we love building them, we love riding them, looking at them, you know. Anything you can do on a snowmobile, pretty much we like to do it. So we're trying to just have a great time. So thanks for coming, and make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know what you think of our 146.